What's good? It's your boy Fanon. I'm going to do a post-fight reaction to Devin Haney versus Juan Carlos Burgos. Took place last night on Showtime, Showbox on Showtime. The 19-year-old Devin Haney. Uh, I'm telling you, man, I love this kid. There's some things, just like any old man, any old grumpy old man, uh, that I can look at and judge them on. But man, I've watched a lot of fighters in the time that I've been watching boxing, and I'm telling you, man, there's a lot of really, really good things about Devin Haney. He really has, at the age of 19, with 20 fights, and the style of the variety in his game, to me, just says, man, that this kid, if he, nothing is guaranteed in the world, man, but this guy really, really has the potential to be an absolutely tremendous, tremendous fighter. Now, before I go into that, and I'll talk specifically about this fight, because I know there's some things I haven't watched what anybody put out about it, but he did not get the knockout against Juan Carlos Burgos. And there was some booing that was going on in the crowd. But the reason that I like it, I actually like the fact that they were booing him. I like the fact that he was doing some of the things that led to the crowd to boo. And I'll explain that after 1 second. First, I want to thank everybody for tuning into the channel. If you're subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing and supporting the channel. If you're not subscribed, subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can be notified when we release more videos. And also thank you to everybody that supports the channel. It's very, very much appreciated. Through listening to the ads that we put on the videos and the Patreon, Venmo, super chats on the live streams, all of that. Thank you so, so much. Now here, let me explain my last statement, why I say that I like what I like about him. And when he was being booed for moving around too much, he's moving around too much, kind of staying out of range, used his legs a lot. I think he probably could, as he gets more experience, find a way to, stay out of range when he needs to without using that much energy. But the thing that I like about it is that he kept switching the game up. He never really ever gave Burgos a set pattern to deal with. Sometimes he would jab from the outside. Sometimes he would just stay way out of range, making the guy miss. Other times he would step to his chest, counterpunch him. He showed a chin. I saw Devin Haney get hit square with, I think it was a left hook square, just took it standing there. I saw him take some pretty nice body shots. But he never let the punch count. He never let his punch count. What I mean by the number of punches he's taken get too high. And I think that that's important for somebody that is looking to have a long career. Allowing a guy just to entertain somebody, just to really, really go for the knockout and press and take a lot of punishment in that fight, I think would have been unnecessary. I think that it would have made people a little more happy about what he was doing in that fight. But in the long run, I think that would have been unnecessary wear and tear. But he would take a round, let himself recover, kind of make the guy stop. Burgos stop doing what was working for Burgos. Then he would go right back at it, step inside. Never allowed dude to get any type of Burgos to get any type of rhythm. I really like the overall approach that he took to the fight. Now at 19 years old, of course there are going to be some things that he could have done better in that fight, but it's a learning experience at this point in time. Now, even the fact that he didn't get a knockout, landing the shots that he landed on Carlos Burgos, that really doesn't bother me. That really doesn't bother me because number one, Carlos Burgos, I don't think Carlos Burgos has ever been knocked down. And, he fought Mikey Garcia. Mikey Garcia didn't put him down at 135 pounds. And Mikey Garcia, at 135 pounds is a big, big hitter. And he didn't go down against Mikey Garcia. And he took Mikey Garcia the distance. So this guy is somebody that really knows. I mean, he knows how to take shots. He very well, however, could have had that fight stopped, though. Now, if the referee and the judges were really trying to pay attention to the health of Carlos Burgos, they should have stopped that fight. That dude was taking the shots that he took to the head. It wasn't like those shots didn't hurt him. When Devin Haney was landing those shots were pushing his head to his shoulder. So it wasn't like, the guy, but he was getting hit high on the top of the head, right where that hematoma was up. Man, dude, that dude's eye was busted up from maybe from the first round. That big swelling hematoma over the top of his eye. But if they had wanted to stop that fight, there was a justification for stopping that fight because, Devin Haney was really causing that guy a lot of punishment. But he didn't get the knockout, but it doesn't bother me much because when at 19 years old, and most, people that have lived long enough know this, man, when you're 19 years old, I think he's about to turn 20. You're not really at your full man strength yet. You can be the same. And these fighting guys that are the last two fights, which really I think should be considered really the start of his career. Having turned pro at 16, fighting out of Mexico, right? Similar to the way Canelo Alvarez came up. I think Canelo Alvarez turned pro at 16 in Mexico as well. Fought, didn't really have much of an amateur career. I know Devin Haney had a longer amateur career, but when they changed the age rule for the Olympics, at least this is what I believe led him to turn pro that early. When they changed the age rule and said that you have to be 19 to participate in the Olympics, he didn't want to wait until that long to go to the Olympics, so he turned pro. Had a lot of fights out in Mexico. And even that I do think is going to really serve him well, man. Having been a professional that long, having been fighting, even though they're lower level professionals, those guys are still fighting, no headgear in Mexico, fighting with guys that, that are, man, fighting to eat, right? You don't know what kind of dirty tricks these cats were pulling out there in Mexico, man. Veteran moves, that have to be used by a guy that's not tremendously skilled. And, when he saw all those looks. And I think those fights served him well against Juan Carlos Burgos. So he's just a very experienced young fighter. Now that he's stepping up and he fought Mason Maynard and Juan Carlos Burgos, these are the first guys that, have over 30 wins, on their record. These guys are 29, 30 years old, over 10 years older than him, but yet still in their physical prime, right? To be able to outmuscle guys that are in that situation, at 19, man, that's usually not able to do that. But when you get to be 22, 23 years old, 24 years old, 25 years old, and your real physical strength starts coming in, guys that if he still can be at 135, 140 pounds at that point in time, the shots that he's catching these dudes catching Menard with now when he's 19, if he's landing them same blows at 22, 23 years old, those things are really rattling that dude's head. Similar to Shakur Stevenson, not having really got his man strength yet. And you can see that since he turned pro, he's gotten stronger, and the shots that he was landing in his first couple of fights that weren't really hurting people, now, a year and a half later, are really starting to put some, really starting to to hurt guys. So I think that, and then the style that, man, the thing that I like about Devin Haney, I love the fact that, he's during times in a fight, I was looking at him, I was like, man, I can really tell that he's been working with Floyd Mayweather Sr. Because there's a lot of things about his game that remind me of Floyd Mayweather Jr. His straight, man, his counter right hands, his God, I think I actually see a couple pull counters. He definitely works well out of that Philly shell. He works well out of that. It doesn't seem contrived. It seems it seems natural to him. His timing is natural. He's shooting, he's throwing shots in between. I mean, he will let his hands go at times. I mean, I just like the guy a lot, man. Now, that's not guaranteeing that he's going to be, Floyd Mayweather level, fighter. But, I think that he's definitely, as far as those 18, 19-year-old kids that I see, Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, Money Pal, Devin Haney, these guys, man, he's looking really, really good. Again, the biggest worry that I have for him is the out of the ring stuff. When you start having people that are associated with that Kardashian noise sitting next to you watching those fights, man, man, outside the ring, you might start, playing in the fast lane, and playing in the fast lane when you're 19 years old, when you're a 19-year-old dude who's a prospect, because Devin Haney is still a prospect. In this, I'm talking about a prospect. I'm not talking about a champion. I'm talking about Devin Haney as a prospect. Having that type of stuff around you, man, you better be a real focused individual, right? Because most of the guys who are at that level he was and then wind up being successful didn't have all that stuff around them. They didn't have their own promotional company. They don't have some reality TV, whatever she is, around him, and all the stuff that comes along with that. So, but I have best wishes for Devin Haney. And once again, man, I'm not tripping on the fact that he didn't get a knockout in that fight. Carlos Burgos never been knocked out. Never been. I don't think the dude's ever been knocked down, let alone knocked out. He's just a rough and tough, come forward fighter who saw the punches coming, who was able to take the punches, but never was able to give Devin Haney any real type of problem, especially after Devin Haney, calmed down after the second round. So, dude is just as bright a prospect as he was before. I'm actually more encouraged by this fight than I was the last fight. And, I can't wait to see what's up next with Devin Haney. And with that, I'm out. Peace.